Well, 25% of women will experience domestic violence in her lifetime, and sometimes the decision to escape can come at a moment's notice.
So October is National Domestic Violence Month. We're joined by Janice Miller. She's with the House of Ruth with some very important information should you be faced with that type of a scenario. Janice, thank you for being here this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So before we go into what you should have, what are some of the signs and symptoms of a woman who's experiencing this?
So if you have a friend who is experiencing domestic violence, they may always want to check in with their partner before they decide to do something. They may make excuses for why they can't come somewhere. They may be calling out with frequent injuries or talk about being very clumsy, but it seems to be unexplained. They may seem very anxious or depressed. And so those are some things that you might just say, hey, is everything okay? Are you all right? Is there something you want to talk about?
And many people faced with this have to kind of give a little thought ahead of time before they're able to leave. So if they're able to do that, there are some items you suggest that they put together to take with them.
Yes. So one thing that someone could do, especially if they have a friend or a family member they could leave this with, is to pack an emergency bag. And so you wouldn't want to get something that would look obvious that you were leaving, because that might tip off your abusive partner that that's what you're doing. But some things that you might want to pack are, some clothing, some toiletries, any medication that you need on a regular basis, getting that extra prescription, your documentation, if you have passport, ID, birth certificate, things like that for your children. A lot of people keep all of their numbers in their phone nowadays, and that is a favorite tactic of an abusive partner, to take a phone and destroy it or to look in there. So any important phone numbers that you have, you definitely want to make sure that you have those on paper and on hand. And then, of course, extra set of car keys. If you don't have that trusted friend or family, then something that you could do is to make sure that you hide your documentation or your car keys in a place where your abusive partner isn't likely to look, so that you could grab it when you need to. And if you need help figuring that out, then you call our 24-hour hotline at 410-889-7884, and we would help you figure out what's the best safety plan for you.
Yeah, and really quickly, once they get to you, how do you help them in addition to that safety plan?
Right. So many times people aren't able to pack a bag, and so then they could just come straight in, and we would help them to replace all of these items. Then we would also be able to give them counseling, legal assistance with a protective order, some emergency shelter if that is what's needed. Help just sort of prioritizing and just normalizing what they're going through and making sure that people know this is not their fault.
Right. Don't stay either. Don't stay in a situation like that.
Well, a lot of times women will stay for a lot of varied reasons, but the important thing is that they make a decision that is right and that is going to keep them safe.
Got it. All right.
This information you can watch again. You can hear Janice's tips on WJZ or CBSBaltimore.com. Look for the Scene On section and look for Weekend Morning Edition. We'll give that number again when we come back out.
Okay. All right.